A group of teenagers goes to a lake to celebrate their graduation, but their getaway soon turns into a fight for survival when something horrifying emerges from the water. Let's find out who will make it back to shore. A youngster named Johnny dreams about his pretty classmate Kitty. They are swimming in the lake together, and she is smiling sweetly at him. Unfortunately, it's only a dream, because in real life, they are just friends. Johnny packs his backpack and heads to the lake with his friends. Among them are Kitty, her boyfriend Matt, her friend Deb, a guy with glasses named Zeke, and Matt's brother Simon. This year, the main characters have graduated from high school and decided to celebrate this happy occasion. Zeke tries to flirt with Deb, but she turns him down. Simon keeps staring at Kitty and nearly gets into an accident. It seems he is also in love with the girl. The group arrives at a camping spot. Johnny opens the barrier and the car drives down to the shore. The teens start unloading their stuff. They've brought plenty of food and drinks. Zeke turns on his camera. The teenagers are getting ready to have a great time at the lake. There is a large boat with 2 oars on the shore. It belongs to Johnny's neighbor, Mr. Parks. The classmates carefully lower it into the water. This is not an easy task, as the boat is quite heavy. Kitty notices that there is no phone service here. Johnny replies that this is Black Lake and that strange anomalies constantly occur here. The youngster gives the girl a necklace and asks her to put it on, explaining that it is a protective talisman. Kitty refuses and returns the gift to Johnny. Johnny's neighbor, Mr. Parks, approaches him. He is a good friend of Johnny's grandfather. Mr. Parks asks the youngster to be very careful and, under no circumstances, to go into the water. Moreover, this lake must be treated with special respect. Johnny looks at the old man in surprise. Soon, the boat pulls away from the shore. The teens row with the oars and enjoy a great time relaxing. Johnny is the only one who, for some reason, doesn't feel happy at all. It seems to him that there is something in the water. After reaching the middle of the lake, the girls put on their swimsuits and Matt takes off his t-shirt. They are going to swim a little and sunbathe. Johnny asks his friends to return to the shore and light a campfire before it gets dark. However, no one listens to him. Zeke takes photos of the girls, and they jump into the water together with Matt. Simon lights one of the small firecrackers. Johnny puts on the necklace he wanted to give to Kitty. At that moment, the boys feel that something is trying to tip their boat over. It seems there is something enormous swimming nearby. The teens panic and want to return to the shore. It appears to be a stupid prank. It was Matt rocking the boat. He takes a sip of whiskey, smiles happily, and swims back to the girls. Kitty and Deb feel like real mermaids. They have finished school and are now completely free. Suddenly, the boat starts rocking again, but this time, it is definitely not Matt. Johnny notices the silhouette of a huge fish in the water. It moves toward the girls and Matt, but then swims past without attacking anyone. Still, Kitty feels as though something touched her underwater. Matt, Kitty, and Deb climb back onto the boat. Now all the characters realize that there is something in the water, so they strike the water with the oars, trying to get a look at the underwater beast. Unfortunately, in doing so, they lose one oar, which drifts away from the boat. Deb reaches out for it, but at that moment, a giant fish with huge teeth appears nearby. The predator manages to bite her. Matt ties off Deb's arm with his belt and several ropes. The problem is that it is extremely difficult to stop the bleeding from the brachial artery. They need to reach the shore as quickly as possible. Matt tries to reach the second oar, but the huge fish bites it in half. Deb loses consciousness. She has lost too much blood. The teens try to row toward the shore with the remaining oar. There is no phone service, so it is impossible to call for help. The enormous fish tries to overturn their boat again and then breaks the second oar. Simon falls overboard in the process, but the guys manage to pull him back in just in time. There is one more piece of good news. It looks like they managed to wound the bloodthirsty fish with part of the second oar. The guys accuse Johnny of knowing the lake's secret and not telling them anything. Kitty is convinced that Johnny hid the truth from them, since he had tried to give her a necklace for protection earlier. Johnny replies that he had heard some legends from his grandfather about a terrifying monster, but he never believed them. Zeke claims that they need bait. They decide to use Deb for this purpose. The teens say a prayer and throw their friend into the water. They hope that the huge fish will start feeding and leave them alone for a while, giving them time to reach the shore. Unfortunately, The predator deals with its prey very quickly and soon resumes its pursuit of the boat. Matt uses the lid from their small cooler as a paddle, but the huge fish breaks it as well. The guys throw all their food into the water, but the predator ignores the offering. The characters try to paddle with their hands, but the boat barely moves. On top of that, it gradually starts to sink, forcing them to constantly scoop water out. Zeke hints that the group needs another bait and suggests holding a vote. The one who is chosen must become a volunteer and save everyone else. The teens start arguing because all of them want to live. Some vote against Johnny, while others vote against Zeke. Johnny receives more votes, calls his friends traitors, and jumps overboard. The predatory fish immediately gives chase. Johnny swims with all his strength and soon disappears from sight. The others have no idea what happened to him and try to paddle toward the shore. Kitty argues with Zeke, calling him a scoundrel and a coward. The huge fish returns to the boat. The teens find firecrackers and try to scare the predator away with them. This works for a short time, but they quickly run out of supplies, and the fish comes back again. Matt wants to throw Zeke overboard. Terrified youngster claims that it should be Kitty instead, arguing that she has romantic relationships not only with Matt, but also with his brother Simon. According to Zeke, he even has video evidence. Matt and Simon fly into a rage and throw Zeke overboard along with his camera, despite all his screams and tears. Soon, the enormous fish appears and leaves Zeke no chance of survival. We see that Johnny has survived. The youngster has managed to successfully reach the shore. He decides to go back for Kitty because he loves her deeply. Johnny notices a motorboat on the shore. Matt reflects on Zeke's words and realizes that he no longer trusts Kitty. The brothers find Johnny's backpack in the boat. It turns out that Johnny brought a small hatchet with him. Simon tries to paddle using the cooler, but the fish quickly destroys it and then bites off a piece of their boat. Kitty grabs Johnny's hatchet and wounds the predator. They need to seize the moment and reach the shore as quickly as possible. Another boat shows up on the lake. It's Johnny. He intends to save his friends. To do so, he needs to tow their boat. Johnny moves closer and throws the group a rope. Matt ties one end of the rope to their boat. Johnny starts the engine. Suddenly, the huge fish appears nearby and rams Johnny's boat. It begins to spin uncontrollably. The rope tightens around Johnny's neck. Kitty wants to cut the rope to save her friend, but Matt and Simon forbid her from doing so. The brothers pull Johnny's boat toward them, but it overturns. Another chance at salvation is lost forever. Matt and Simon notice that the fish swims up to Johnny, but for some reason doesn't eat him. Their boat keeps filling with water. Matt chops several planks out of it and uses them as paddles. The teens row toward the shore. Matt once again recalls Zeke's words. He explodes in a fit of jealousy at Kitty and his brother. The unfaithful girl worries him far more than the predatory fish. Matt suggests holding another vote. Someone has to become the next bait. Matt and Simon vote against each other. The brothers begin fighting right on the boat. Kitty's vote is supposed to be the deciding one. In the end, Matt and Simon decide that the worst person on the boat is Kitty, and they throw her overboard. Kitty tries to climb back onto the boat, but the brothers don't allow her to. The girl has no other choice, so she swims toward the shore. Matt and Simon are left alone on the boat. Soon, they start another furious fight, as a result of which both brothers fall into the water. Simon suffers a head injury, which of course attracts the predatory fish. Matt decides to save his brother and drags him toward the shore. Simon notices the huge fish and pushes his brother straight into its jaws. While the predator is feeding, Simon manages to reach the shore. We then see that Kitty is still in the lake. She's lying on Johnny's overturned motorboat, staring thoughtfully at the water. The girl pulls Johnny's body closer and removes the necklace he wanted to give her from his neck. After that, the fish devours its prey. Kitty believes that the necklace will protect her, so she puts it on and swims toward the shore. The fish truly doesn't touch her. The problem is that Simon is waiting for her in the shallow water. Kitty saw what he did to his brother and realizes that she is in great danger, too. Simon notices the necklace around Kitty's neck. He recognizes it as Johnny's gift. The guy believes that Kitty and Johnny deliberately led them to this lake. He kisses his girlfriend, then pushes her underwater and prevents her from coming back up to the surface. Simon makes it to the shore at night and encounters Mr. Parks there. The old man asks where Johnny is and learns that Simon is the only survivor. Mr. Park says that Johnny was a good kid and shows Simon the camera that previously belonged to Zeke. The old man has not only the camera, but also a gun. He orders Simon to go back into the lake. Simon refuses, and Mr. Parks pulls the trigger several times. Terrified, the young man flees into the water, and the enormous fish drags him down to the depths.